Welcome everyone to Balance by Megan. I'm Megan. Today's flow is a holiday cheer flow. So don't let this hat fool you, even though in real time it is close to the holidays. This is a flow that can be done any time of year. So grab your mat and let's create balance in your life. Before we begin today's flow, which is a total body flow, I wanted to set the context for what this practice, yoga practice, is. So I've called it holiday cheer for a couple of different reasons. For one, it will make you happy, it will just make you cheerful. We are gonna work on the total body today, so everything will get a little bit of a work in. If you've been carrying a lot of bags, a lot of shopping bags, you'll get some poses to help open the chest, kind of countering that hunchedness. It will bring cheer to both body and to mind. We'll also be doing a lot of groundwork in this video. So the reason for that is I want us to come back to what the holidays are all about. So we often get caught up in the commercialism and the materialistic needs of Christmas or the holidays, whichever holiday you're celebrating, and it takes the joy out of all of that. So sometimes we get caught up with how expensive our gifts are, or how big our gifts are, or how many we're giving. And it's crazy to think of how many people go into debt around the holiday seasons. And that's not cheerful. No one's cheerful after getting those credit card bills. So let's come back to what makes us happy, what brings us joy, what brings us cheer during this holiday season. So it might be baking cookies with your loved ones. It might be taking a walk outside. It might be watching the snow wherever you live. If you don't live where there's snow, maybe it's just embracing and being gratitude for the warmth that you have. It might be looking at Christmas lights. It might be decorating a Christmas tree. So let's come back to what brings us cheer and what brings us joy during this holiday season. With that being said, we'll begin in extended wide-legged child's pose. So starting right to the ground today, we'll bring our knees as wide as the mat, and we'll send the hips back and come place our mat or our head on the mat. Just find a little movement here, if that feels good for you. Starting nice and low. Right away, dropping into feeling the earth and the ground supported beneath us. And taking a few breaths here to settle into our practice. You might stay here with your hands pressing flat into the mat, or you might come onto your fingertips, getting a deeper stretch in that upper back, in the shoulders, the side body. You might sway a little from side to side, or you can simply come to stillness and just breathing into that stretch. Take one more breath here, and then we'll lift the head up. We'll walk our hands to the right side of our mat, right hand coming off of that mat, left hand coming to the edge. And we'll place our head down here and we'll feel this stretch in the left side body. So getting a lateral stretch here, kind of the opposite of what we do all day, either hunched over our phones, computer, carrying shopping bags. If we're still doing our holiday shopping. And now on your next inhale, look up. Walk yourself over to the left side of your mat. Inhale here. Exhale, release. Feeling the stretch now in the right side body. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, come back to center of your mat. Take a breath here. And on your inhale, pull yourself up. So keeping your knees as wide as the mat. Hands underneath our shoulders. We'll just move in a cat-cow in this position. So a little different. A little change here. Inhale, we'll come forward. And on our exhale, we'll arch our back, sending our hips back down. So finding a little bit of movement here that feels good and is resonating with your body today. And of course, if this doesn't work for you, you can press your knees together and come into your traditional cat-cow. Just take one more wherever you are. And then on your next inhale, we'll come forward onto our bellies, bringing the knees underneath us, pressing into the tops of the feet. Arms come out wide into a T shape. And then bring your left hand forward facing the mat, and we'll take our left knee up towards that elbow, coming into the sleeper pose, which is really good for the lower back. Again, oftentimes in the holiday season, we're overwhelmed, we're running around a lot, trying to get a bunch of things in, trying to do our last minute in both personal life and business life. So with the holidays comes the end of year, which can be a little bit of a stressful environment if you're working a business. Take one more breath here. Exhale, bring that leg back down. And we'll swing our legs, feet pointing up towards the sky, and swing them over to the right, coming into this stretch. Your left foot will come flat on the mat or the floor here, and just feeling the stretch in the right shoulder, countering the hunchness that we often catch ourselves in, or maybe we don't, so you'll notice this stretch, a real deep stretch here. And if you want to go deeper, you can take your left hand, place it flat on the mat, and just guide yourself a little deeper into the pose. Take one more breath here. Exhale, come through. Take that T-shaped again with the hands. Feet press flat into the mat, and we'll move to our sleeper pose on the other side. Bringing that right hand up, fingertips facing forward, and that right knee comes towards our right elbow. Just taking a And on your next exhale, draw that leg back down. Arms come back to that T shape. We pick up our feet and just swing them from side to side once or twice. And then all the way over to the left. We'll come place that right foot on the mat and feel the stretch in the left shoulders, the upper traps, the chest. And if you want to go deeper into the pose, bring your right hand closer to the body, flat on the mat, and just guide yourself a little deeper. So showing our bodies a little bit of self-care, a little bit of self-love, and taking time to do something so good for us, especially in the chaoticness of life. But also, again, if you're doing this real time, the holiday season. Take one more breath here, and then come through. Press those feet flat on the mat. And then we'll draw our hands closer to our body, but still off the mat. You want to create like this L-shaped between your hands and your shoulders here. And on your inhale, come up into a slight back bend. So adjust your hands as needed. It's kind of like this wide stance for a cobra, sometimes called seal pose. Lifting your chest up, having it shine forward, and finding a small back bend that works for you. You might be a little bit closer to the mat, so you could be a lot higher up. Just bringing a little bit of energy into the body if we're feeling tired. You might just pulse a little here, or you might just stay still. Take one more breath. Exhale, release. Curl the toes underneath. Hands come in line with the rib cage. And we'll press up and back to a child's pose, but keeping the toes curled underneath and finding some release in our foot fascia. Giving a little bit of love to our feet. Our feet that carry us on the ground, so appropriate for this grounding practice. And then on your next inhale, look up and come forward to your tabletop position. So get situated here, fingertips spreading nice and wide, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we'll just take a couple of cat-cows here. Just, again, finding some movement in the body. Bringing a little bit of extension and flexion to our spine. And then we'll come back to neutral. We'll curl the right toes underneath and send them back. And just move back and forth a little bit here. Bringing some love to the calves. Really reach that heel back towards the back edge of your mat. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, draw the right foot towards the right side of your mat. Toes facing forward. We have a nice wide stance here. And we'll walk our hands up, back and forth. Come to this back and forth position. Just bringing a little bit of movement to our hips, to the inner thigh. And sorry, from here, we'll walk our hands up towards our bodies. we'll come up. Send the fingers out long, like a warrior stance, but you're on your knee here, your knees. Inhale, drop that left hand down, send the right fingertips over to the left side. And then we'll reverse that by sending the right hands down, the left hand up and over. We're coming into this stretch here, kind of doing multitude of things here, stretching the hips, the thighs, as well as the lateral sides of the body. And just take one more wherever you are. Come back to your warrior variation stance. And then we'll come back down to our hands. Draw that right leg up and over towards the left side of your body. And we'll do rainbow kicks here. So, as mentioned earlier, you will get a full body workout here, bringing some love to all parts of our body. And then you won't feel so guilty if you have a few extra holiday treats. Do one more. Keeping flexion in the foot. And draw it back in. Bring the knees together. Sit back. And just take a couple of wrist relief poses. So you might do thriller arms to counter all the wrist work we've been doing. Might do wrist circles. And then we'll come back through and do the same dance on the other side. So send the left foot out, and then we'll work on the calves here. So you might find a little bit of movement. You might stay still, but actively pull that left heel back towards your mat. And then we'll send the left foot over off our mat. Try to keep the toes in line with the knee here. Keep the foot flat on the mat. And we'll just rock a little back and forth. So actively feeling this on the inner thigh here. The quads, the hamstrings, the hips. All of that goodness. And actively press into the top of that right foot. Flat into the mat. Take one more. And from here, walk the hands back. Come up. And we'll come into our warrior variation here. Take a breath here, and then we'll reach the left fingertips up and over to the right side. Side body stretch. Inhale, come back, and over to the left. Inhale, come back, and move through this flow. And this also takes a little bit of core work too to stay upright like this. So bringing joy and cheer to all parts of our body today. And just take one more on each side. Beautiful. Come back through. Center. Take one breath. And then we'll come forward and move through our rainbow kicks. Inhale here. Exhale. Draw it up and over. And move back and forth here. Working on the glutes, on the booty. Try not to collapse here into your stomach or into your wrist, but push away from the mat. And just take one more. And then bring it in. Come back to a quick child's pose. Head touches the mat. We send our fingertips behind us. Balasana. Take one more breath here. And then reach the fingertips up. Come up to your tabletop position. Again, finding a good stance for your body. Then we'll send the right toes out. Pick them up. Inhale, and as you exhale, draw it up and into your low lunge. So find stance here that works for your body, just making sure that the knee is tracking the ankle. Come to this low lunge. You should be feeling this in the left hip flexor here. You might just stay here. You might come up onto the knee. Try to lift up from the pelvis area. So we're not dumping all of our weight forward, but we have this lift. And we'll take one more breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, pull the hips back, straighten the front knee, flex that right foot. Runner's stretch. So actively pull the right hip back. Make sure you're not totally collapsing to the left side. You have square hips here. And then we'll release over that straight leg, finding a stretch in the entirety of the back leg here. Take one more breath. And then your exhale, come through, plant into that front foot. Walk your right hand over into the right side of your right foot and walk that foot off, spilling the toes, spilling off the edge of the right of your mat. And we come into lizard. So good for the hips. You might have to walk your knee back a little bit for a deeper stretch. If you need to pause the video and go grab a blanket to add some cushion, please do so. And again, we're pressing into those fingertips and not collapsing into the wrists here. So take one more breath. And then we'll come up off of the back knees, sending the back toes up. Walk that left hand back to clasp it and give yourself a nice quad stretch. If this is too much, you can just stay in your regular lizard pose, or you can come to a wall to kind of give yourself some assistance here. Breathe. And then we'll release. Try to keep some tension in that leg so you don't create a slingshot effect here. Walk that foot back in. And slide it back to your tabletop. You might take one breath here in a child's pose variation. And then come back through, finding your stance. Send the left toes up behind you. Lift them up. And then draw it in for your low lunge on the other side. So again, feeling this in the hip flexors. You might feel a little bit in your lower back depending on how tense you are. And just finding a little bit of movement that works for you. So again, you can keep your hands flat on the mat here. You can bring them up towards the knee. You can sink a little deeper if that feels okay for you. Send the back knee back a little bit if you need a little bit more. And front knee over front ankle. One more breath here. And then we'll straighten that left leg and we'll come into our runner stretch on the left side, keeping flexion in that foot. And you want roughly a 90-degree angle in your back leg. You shouldn't have multiple. Take one more breath. And then on your exhale, walk forward, plant that left foot. Send the left hand to the inner side of your left foot and walk that foot off the mat. Toes might spill off the mat here. Rearrange your back knee if needed, and we come into this lizard pose. So put a little bit of movement into coming onto the pinky edge of your foot here, opening up a little bit. You can keep it flat here and find some movement that works for you. And then from there, we'll take an inhale, we'll come up off of that back knee, reach the right hand behind us to clasp our foot, and we'll give ourselves a quad stretch here. So this might be a little difficult to get into, especially if you have some tight hamstrings, tight hips. And just honor where you're at today in your body. Take one more breath here. And then again, resisting that slingshot effect, release. Plant the back foot. Walk that left leg back in to your low lunge. And then step it back to your tabletop position. We'll just take one breath here. And then we'll step the right toes back, step the left toes back, and come into your high plank. So we're here in high plank for 5 breaths. A total body workout here. This one simple pose does so much. Take one more breath. And then send your hips up and come into your downward facing dog. Drawing the heels towards the mat. Pressing into your hands. Tailbone reaches up. And stay here or move your dog. Pedaling one foot and then the other. And then you can stay here. If you want to add a little bit of strengthening for your arms, as you inhale, roll up the toes, come forward into a plank. Take a little bend in the elbows and come back up and over. Downward dog hurdles. This is just if you want a little bit of more strengthening poses for your workout today or your yoga routine. And just take one more if you're doing downward dog hurdles. Come back up to your down dog. Inhale, bend the knees, and on your exhale, walk, hop, or step up to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to the thighs, the shins, or they stay on the mat. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. Feet can be hip bone distance apart or they can be flushed together. Clasp the elbows and rock from side to side. Giving ourselves some low back love today. from here, we'll release, and we'll slowly roll up to a standing position. Lift the arms up and overhead, palms kiss together, and draw your hands towards your heart space. Take a moment here. Perhaps you come back to the intention of the flow today, reminding yourself the holidays are about love, being with your loved ones, joy, and it's not about the materialistic aspect of it. So from here, we'll send the fingertips behind us, interlace them together, draw your knuckles down and away, pressing into all four corners of the feet here. So the big toe mound, the baby toe mound, and the backs of the heels. Lifting up through the arches of the feet, lifting our heart slightly, and just finding this nice opening in our chest. Take one breath here. Exhale, release. Take your fingertips, touch your shoulders, and we'll just do some circles, some hand to shoulder circles, bringing some mobility to our shoulders here. Going one way, and then reversing, going the other. Make your circles nice and big, and if you're really tight, you can be small, just the act of bringing mobility to them. Perfect, release. We're gonna do the same thing, but take the awkward thumb on top, interlace the fingers, draw them down the back body and away. Just taking a nice still position here. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Take one breath here and release. Step into the right leg, pick up your left foot and bring it back, coming into a wide-legged position. So you want the long edges of your feet to match the short edges of the mat here. Take about 3 feet distance apart. And feel as though you have a bolster pressed between both feet, and that action of giving that bolster a squeeze. From here, we'll send the arms out and cross the right arm underneath the left, coming into eagle arms here. So we're here in eagle arm pose. If that doesn't work for you, simply give yourself a hug. From here, we'll inhale, lift up, and as you exhale, send the hips back. Come forward, crown of the head reaches towards the mat. Inhale, we'll come up. And exhale, forward. We'll do this just a couple of times. And then the next time that you're folded forward here, just take a few breaths. So draw those elbows away from your body towards the mat, squeezing that bolster between your legs. You might feel a little bit of shake. That's okay. And then we'll inhale, we'll come up halfway, exhale all the way up, release. You might give yourself just a quick shoulder roll. And then we'll heel toe in, keeping a wide stance still, but we're moving into a goddess flow. So we'll send the fingertips out again. This time the left arm goes underneath the right, Inhale, send those elbows up and away from the body. And as you exhale, sink down a little low. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, up. Exhale, sink a little lower. And once more, stand up. Exhale, sink down and hold. And we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the arms. We'll heel toe in a little bit more and we'll come down to a nice yogi squat. So hands can stand flat on the mat, or you can bring your palms together and use your elbows to create a little bit of resistance between the knees. And this is one of the most grounding poses for yoga. Adjust your feet as needed. It brings us back to our root chakra, which is all about security and feeling grounded. Take one more breath here. And then if your hands were in prayer position at your heart, release them to the mat. We'll come up a little bit, heel toe your way in, feet flush together, and we sink down, coming onto our toes into a little ball. So just taking one breath here, kind of bringing all of us into this little ball of love. And then on your next exhale, make your way back down to the mat. And we'll finish up with coming back down, doing some more grounding poses. Knees go out wide. Here, I'll come to face you. Knees go out wide, soles of the feet together. You can draw them in towards your body for a deeper stretch or away for less of a stretch. Hands clasp the ankles or the toes. And just a few breaths here in Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. You might take your thumbs and give yourself a foot rub, just showing yourself some love during this holiday season. And if you're like, no way, I'm not doing that, that's okay. From here, we'll grow the spine nice and tall. Crown of the head lifts up. Inhale. As you exhale, let's fold forward, clasping the hands around the toes. A forward fold here in our Baddha Konasana pose. Knees feeling heavy, drawing towards the mat. Take one more breath. And if you were in your forward fold here, come up, draw the knees together. And just one final core pose before we finish up. Come to sit on your mat, feet flat on the mat, hands interlaced underneath our knees. We'll lean back slightly, pick up the toes and come into your boat pose. So we're lifting the chest up. We're sitting back on our sitting bones and not on our sacrum. If you want to go into full boat, stretch those legs and release the hands. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to your half boat. Plant the feet back down. Send the legs out long. Point the toes, legs nice and together. Fingertips clasp. Our index fingers pointing forward, and we roll down towards our back. Coming nice and flat on our back. We'll send the arms out to our T shape. Pick up the feet and bring them in towards chest, towards our chest here. And we can stay here, or we can sway a little from side to side. Just making sure if we are doing this sway or this twist here that our shoulder blades are staying nice and flat on the mat. Actually, I lied. This is kind of a core pose too, so you're getting it all in today. And do one more to each side. And we'll finally come back to center. And you can get ready for your Shavasana or take one final pose. Happy baby. And I can't think of a more cheerful pose. 10 width than this. You might rock a little from side to side, bringing some joy, some cheer to your happy baby. A little cheer to your lower back as well. And if you have a baby in your life somewhere, go watch them do this. It's really cute. Okay, take one more breath here, and then release and set up for your Shavasana. So legs go out long, toes spilling to the outside of our mat, arms alongside of our body, palms up for receiving. And just take a few moments here. Let your stretch, your workout, your flow settle into the body, and just taking another few moments of quietness for yourself. If you have the luxury and you have the time, I encourage you to stay here as long as you can. If you've got to move on with your day, bring a little bit of movement into the fingers and into the toes. You might rotate the wrist and the ankles. You might nod your head from side to side, awakening your body. From there, you can roll up to a seated position or come to your side and then roll up. And just take a moment here in easy pose, or pose of your choice. Bring the hands to heart space. And just remember what we talked about in this video. Remember what the point is of all of this holiday. And choose to focus on cheer and joy, and being present with those you love most and hold dearest in your life. And send yourself some gratitude for making time for your practice today. Draw your hands up to your third eye, the place between your brow. Bow when we say, the light in me honors the light in each and every single one of you. Namaste. Before you head out, subscribe to the channel today. So show a little bit of joy, bring a little bit of cheer to somebody else's life by sharing this video with them and encouraging them to subscribe to the channel. You get yoga videos weekly from here. And let me know, comment down below, what holiday are you celebrating? Where in the world are you celebrating it with? And I look forward, as always, to connecting with you on social media. So, have a great holiday and we'll see you soon. Bye.